After you have this conversation, that is when this elderly-looking elf starts walking towards your direction, and when he gets closer to you, the old man will call out, "Halaser, is that you?"
She's tired. She's done. She's just gonna go right on over to the old elf and just drape her arms over him and just, I missed you so much.
Oh, Halaser! It's been quite some time since I last saw you.
Theo's gonna wander up and give him a hug as well, just to join in.
Oh, and who might you be?
Hi, I'm Theoben.
Hello, Theoben. Welcome to the Wending Wood. It looks like you have a whole group of people with you, Halaser.
I do.
Is this some sort of scouting party?
No, my old friend. We just finished a very long day.
Oh, well, tell me about it, he says. It's rather boring around these parts lately. I could use for something that's remotely more entertaining.
Let's tell you then, shall we?
You can paraphrase. How much are you going to tell him? Or do you want to do this in character?
Well, I would rather paraphrase.
You can do that.
Yeah, okay, so she's going to, for now, keep it vague. She doesn't really hold much of anything away from old Tangerine normally,
Sure.
but this is kind of a special circumstance because there are things that she might otherwise have mentioned to him that she doesn't maybe want everybody else in the group to know.
Ah, okay.
So it's just going to be the equivalent of, we were here on a very special mission, and we had to go look into something uncertain at the mines, and just we're keeping it vague.
Okay.
But, here on a mission, don't know how long we're staying.
Very well. You're welcome to hang out around here if you like for as long as you'd want. I'm sure that Owlet and Acorn won't mind. Oh, well, Acorn's probably just going to be snoozing for the rest of the day.
I would love to spend a good long time with you, my friend, but for now, at least until we are able to make it back to our camp, I would welcome all of you. Do you need anything? And
Do I need anything?
This should be pretty familiar with old Tangerine because, during their past together was always, okay, do you need anything? Here, fix my this. Here, I'm fixing it for you. It's a familial thing.
Well, it's funny you asked that. Nobody's ever asked me if I've ever needed anything in a very long time.
Not so long, old friend.
Well,
what do you need?
You seem to be traveling quite a bit, correct?
Very correct.
I was curious if during your travels you have run into the Dalish, by any chance.
Not yet, but who's to say?
I have been searching ever since the Blight had ended for a specific Dalish clan. They used to frequent here in the Wending Wood, you see. It's very important that I find them if they happen to be alive, or at least discover what happened to them. Did they die in the Blight? I doubt it, because I have gone to their original campsite where I know that they were before the Blight, and I did not see any bodies. More specifically, he says, I am trying to find my granddaughter. Her name is Lithia Ashala.
Very well. Is there a message you need me to bring to her, or what may I do for you?
I just wanted to find out whether or not she's safe. And if she could if it's easy for her to travel and find me here in the Wending Wood.
Very well. I will make sure I get this message to the clan and to Lithia Ashala should I run into them.
Well, he says, could you give me a moment, Halaser? I wish to speak to our friend, Owlet.
Of course, anything you need.
And Princess Violetta will pipe up before he leaves. Sir, Mr. Tangerine. Yes. Is that, just out of curiosity, don't take this the wrong way, but is Tangerine your real name? Old Man Tangerine kind of chuckled. No, but it is the name that I have become accustomed to around here. Owlet actually gave me the name. Really? When I first met Owlet, I started speaking to the owl itself, and I called the owl Owlet. Little did I know that there was another sentient being underneath the owl. It had thought I was talking to it. So, to my surprise, it started talking back to me and thought that I had named it Owlet. The tree said, I found it rather rude that you would talk to the owl and not address me as well. It's fine, Owlet. At any rate, he really liked the name Owlet, so he decided to keep it for himself, which meant we had to give the owl a proper name, and he seemed to think that it would be amusing to name it Acorn, which I guess is the young version of a tree. Irony and all that. He then proceeded to tried to call me by my real name. It was too difficult for him to pronounce, so he said, why don't I just call you Tangerine? That is the type of tree of my first date, he says proudly. Tangerine. Too much information, old Tangerine said.
It's very a fascinating story, I could tell you sometime.
Well, it's not every day that one is named after a tree's girlfriend. Definitely a first for me, he says. At any rate, could you excuse us, he says, as he goes over to the tree, to Owlet, to speak in privately. And at this point, Violetta just shaking her head. Halaser, the friends that you meet. And
Indeed.
I thought I was the most bizarre one of your associates.
No.
The dwarves certainly said surfaces were weird. I didn't believe them. Fool me.
Well, Theoben, I will be the first to admit that none are so regularly irregular as my closest circles.
They seem to be a good sort, though.
They are the best sort.
After a bit, Old Man Tangerine comes back and says, Halaser, Owlet and I have a question for you. One more favor, if you would, that I think might benefit everybody.
Name it.
In return for, since you were so kind enough to offer to find my granddaughter, Owlet has expressed for a number of weeks now an interest in broadening his horizons. He's been wondering if he could maybe see the world a bit, and I thought that perhaps if he accompanied you, he might help you with your search to find Lithia. The tree looks very expectantly, and he says, it would be not just for me, but Acorn as well. She doesn't really like to travel very much. I'm thinking that this might change her mind.
Sorry, let me just check I've got this. He's asking us to travel with a tree.
Is it any stranger than anything that you have seen in the past week?
It is a grand creature.
It is a big tree.
He is.
The tree can walk?
And talk, as you have seen.
It's so hard to meet people, he says. After Tangerine, I've been hoping I might be able to find something to fill the void in my heart.
How are we supposed to walk around with a tree? I'm pretty sure he's going to draw attention.
Yeah, but I mean, look at him. He's magnificent.
He wants to broaden his horizons, so...
Can
Hey,
you
I'm
fit in the
Sure,
illusion?
it might... I'm sorry?
He can. He's not that big. He's
Oh,
young.
Okay.
He's not that big. He's about as big as Esbjorn. I said, if
Oh, that's
Esbjorn
right,
can
that's
fit in the
right, that's
if
right.
Esbjorn can fit in the mirror, he can fit in the mirror.
He's gonna grow.
Aw.
I'm on board with it. I'm just saying, if we were thinking discreet, that might be out.
That's fine. I'm not saying we take him to visit the Grand Divine.
That would be hilarious. We must do it.
Would. Let's discuss that.
We will.
Maybe avoid cities, but yeah, he'd be great in most places.
Very well. It is a hearty yes from me as well.
If you know of a grove full of apple trees or pear trees, they are the ones I'm most attracted to.
I don't blame you. Those are delicious fruits. When they are given.
Orange trees are fine too, but it's hard to compare apples from oranges.
Of course. So it has been said.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Since we are on the topic of our expanding our group, the princess has also requested that she be able to join us. She has an interest in a quest that I have. And while I have told her I would welcome an ally, I have also told her it is not my call alone. If you need time to think on it, that is fine.
You don't have to decide now, Princess Violetta says. But it would be greatly appreciated if I could help you and perhaps be able to help each other in the process, she says.
She's already like slipping an arm around Owlet, BFF.
Aw. Theoben will follow suit and put an arm around the tree.
And, she says, turning to Owlet, I might know of a few pear tree groves around Thetis. During my travels, at least. So you might luck out. Oh, can she come too, please? Owlet says. I haven't had a proper date in so long.
Oh, I love this guy.
I love how the main companion quest of this guy is finding a
True
tree
love.
to date.
Oh, I love it.
A tree.
I love it. There should be more trees in the Dragon Age games.
Right. Short to the tree. I like Owlet.
Very well.
I can be discreet, he says. And with that, he starts to move his branches again, and then he transforms into tree mode. So he just looks like a tree.
As you do. You certainly can, my friend. And she turns her eyes to old Tangerine. That will leave you alone, though. Will you be alright?
I've been alone long before I met Owlet, he says. You do not have to worry about me.
But I do.
Princess Violetta says, if you want, I'm sure that my people back at the wagons would be more than welcoming to you, my good sir. He says, I have no issue staying out here in the forest, but if it eases Halaser's mind, I would be open to meeting your group. Old Man Tangerine says.
I just want you to be safe. Your choices are your own, my old friend.
The tree owlet turns and says, "You should try to get out more often too. Why don't you meet these people then? You might find a mate as well," the tree says. "Oh, my owlet friend," he says, "I'm afraid my dating days are over." Owlet says, "Don't say that. It's never too late." Old man, he kind of smiles and says, "It's more by choice. Trust me," he says. "Suit yourself," Owlet says. "But that's all right. You are young and lithe, my friend. The world is your oyster. Go forth and take it by the branches, I suppose," Old Man Tangerine says.
He will be welcome.
He will say, "I will meet your friends, and if they seem like the sort that I could assimilate to, then I will stick around." Which would mean that if the mirror was still with us, you could still visit your old friend Tangerine anytime you wanted, Hallie, Princess Violetta says.
Despite the instant green check mark in her brain, she's just, good to know.
Okay.
No one shall ever see the
Ow, I think I just lost an eardrum.
Sorry. You didn't need both eardrums.
Nah, I didn't. I can give it to the tree.
"So, shall we?" he says. "I think we shall." "Excellent," he says. "Then let me gather my things." He goes over to like a patch of dirt and he starts gathering a few things from the patch of dirt that's buried under it. So
Acorns, mushrooms, things.
you will finally reach the edge of the forest, and the caravan is still there. Several of the gypsies will look at the Sylvan owlet oddly, but they're pretty easygoing, so they're not really gonna fuss over it too much. Several of them, of course, are going to be asking questions.
Of course.
But other than that, nobody gives you guys any trouble. And I guess Violetta will then ask if she's allowed to continue on with you folks or not. Because I think you guys are about to go into the mirror.
While that's true, we can also always come back out. So I think Hal's answer is going to be pretty much the same. Just give us a moment to discuss with all of our companions, please.
So are you guys going to all go into the mirror and discuss within the
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Are you going to bring Owlet with you into the mirror as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You guys will go into the wagon. Hugh and Razakale and Owlet will join all of you into the mirror. Owlet will be able to squeeze his way through the doorway. It's pretty tight, but he can still do it.
Sure.
He manages to squeeze his way into the doorway. And when he sees the mirror that you guys activate, he says, "I've never seen such a doorway before. It glows with a very odd light."
It is a very strange thing indeed.
You get used to it.
And it's certainly not the first you will see, my friend. We're going to have a grand adventure.
"So my future girlfriend or wife or confidant is right through that mirror?"
I'd like to think so.
Several, perhaps. Several mirrors.
"Excellent," he says. "I will practice my poetry."
When this is over, my friend, I'll set you up with a nice bramble bush.
"Wonderful," he says. The Tangerine tree that I was dating was difficult to replace. She was very good with poetry, rhymed with every word that she spoke.
Huh.
Aw.
So cute.
And with that, he will crawl into the mirror with the rest of you. When you guys go into the crossroads, Connor and Esbjørn will be waiting, and of course Esbjørn will reunite with Kenna. They'll have their moment, which I'm sure we'll have with Sam when we begin the next session next session. Connor is gonna have his jaw's gonna drop
Yay!
when he sees a tree emerge. Is that a Sylvan?
Yep.
Connor asks. Aha! You've brought back a tree.
Well, we're trying to collect every weird creature in the book. Seemed like a good place to start.
Apparently. Well, at least it looks like you all are safe, at least, Connor says.
No, Connor.
Does Andrea says that out loud?
Yep.
Okay. Is something wrong? He asks.
They're actually dwarven mages. Thought you should
You're
know.
kidding me.
I'm not. There's a whole school of children, apparently.
The Divine is definitely going to want to hear about this if that's the case.
I feel like maybe not, but
Yeah.
they're not connected
Really?
to the Fade.
How can that be if they're casting magic?
Thank you. That's what I was asking too, but it's apparently something different. I don't know.
Oh, why didn't you guys bring me with you? Connor says.
I
He
know.
looks he's
I was
pouting a little
thinking
bit.
of you like the whole time we were there.
Oh well, you guys didn't miss much over here. Esbjørn and I, we pretty much did a bit of wrestling. He won almost all the time. Every time.
Really?
Every time, he says.
Oh.
Every time.
I was gonna say you beat him once. That's cool. But
I
no.
was going to make the exact same comment.
No, it didn't quite work out that way. He says.
All right. So we have a decision to make as a group. Yes.
Yes.
A decision? All right.
Yes.
Yes.
Connor says, I'm all ears.
All right. Violetta wants to join our crusade.
Violetta?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
She has reasons which are not mine to give. But let me be clear. Our relationship is... We are not close, but she has honored her promises, and I am honoring mine. Would I trust her as much as any of you? Perhaps not, but she is an ally in a time when we might need it. And she knows already that so long as she remains faithful to this group, that she will have my defense if need be. But this is not my decision alone to make.
Well, here's the thing. When you say group,
Yes.
I feel like right now we are not a cohesive group, and I'm not sure if adding another person into the mix is a good idea. Particularly her. But I'll get to that in a second.
All right.
I feel like we went down into that cave, and I was kept in the dark for a long time. I sat in the cave and I waited and I waited, and Theoben told me I might have to kill his ex-fiancée, and I said, all right, I'll do it. Then when we went in, we were completely blindsided. There are dwarven mages, and I came up with some questions which I thought were pretty valid. I mean, they were aggressively given, so I'm a gladiator. That's how I talk. But essentially, I wanted to know if there was anyone there with any experience in suppressing magic to keep the children safe. And I questioned the education of the woman, and I was immediately.
Andrea, this is not a discussion about that. This is
You
a
are
discussion.
incorrect.
If
You
you
are
don't
incorrect.
want to be traveling with me, then that is fine. But this is a discussion about Violetta.
Yes, you need to listen to this. I was immediately betrayed. But not just me, the entire group was betrayed because we all agreed together that my identity as a slave would be kept quiet. There are reasons for that. I am not safe to be helping you. I put myself on the line to help your people. That is something that I have done. By not doing my master's bidding and doing your thing instead.
My thing. Okay.
Yes, your thing.
My thing.
I have put my life on the line, but not just mine, the life of someone I care very deeply for, by not doing my master's bidding and helping the dwarven people instead. And by shouting out my name and what I am in front of Violetta when she knows my master, she is friends with my master, and I have told you multiple times I do not trust her. You have put my only friend in severe danger. She could die because of what you said. One wrong slip of the tongue from Violetta, and my friend is dead, and that is on you.
There is absolutely nothing I can do to change that, Andrea. You can yell at me. That is fine. Maybe I deserve that, but you cannot change that.
No, I can't. But now that woman knows who I am, she knows my master, she's friends with my master, what's to stop her?
Hold. Andrea, what are you supposed to be doing that you are now in trouble for not?
I can't tell you.
Very well.
If I was told that if anyone knows what I'm doing, then the deal is off the table and Trina will be in severe trouble.
All right. So...
I know what that's like, Hugh says.
Thank you.
So Violetta knows your master.
Yes.
Knows you're a slave.
Yes, and she knows that I know Bostwick, and I'm sure she knows who I am.
I will go take care of this. Give me a moment. And she leaves. Because, that's what you do. She's going to go talk to Violetta. So,
you will emerge out of...
come back.
I will follow Halaser for now. Okay. Halaser, you will emerge out of the mirror. It's fine because the limitation is okay. And you see that currently Violetta is introducing Old Man Tangerine to the rest of the group. They seem to be very welcoming of the old man, and a bunch of them actually offer him some of the stew that they're making for lunch.
Oh, he's going to make it better.
I'm sure he is. And I guess you can approach Violetta, and she will turn around and say, Halaser, what can I do for you, darling?
I need a word. Alone.
Oh, this is serious, isn't it?
It is.
Certainly. She walks over and she excuses herself from the rest of the group, and you can walk over to a private area of the camp.
It has just been brought to my attention that you were privy to some information that was not It was released in a matter improper. And
Oh, I see. She looks
I
confused as
don't
to what that would
use
be.
subtlety very well. I hear that you know Andrea's master, and I hear you know she is a slave.
She responds, I did hear that. Yes, the other night. I thought that when I found out that she knew an associate of mine, past associate of mine, that we might have had some common ground.
What is your intent with this knowledge?
She says, honestly, I had never really thought much of it since we spoke about it. It doesn't affect me in any way.
This is a secret that needs to remain, for not just her life is at stake. You understand this?
I didn't realize it was that important till you brought it up, but if you say so, certainly.
I need your word that this remains with you and not shared with anyone.
Very well, she says. I honestly don't know who I would have told anyway, who I would tell anyway.
This is an important thing, and this is why I bring it up. Do you understand?
She nods. If that is what gives you the biggest concern, Halaser, then I can say that I'll easily say that it will never be brought up from my lips.
Or from the lips of any others.
She looks confused as to that. I don't know if I can control the lips of others.
I've seen you control others.
She says, indeed, I do have the ability to influence others, yes. But what do you take me for, Halaser? I don't do it unless I have just cause, and certainly not to betray a friend.
I know. You and I are not the closest of people, though we share similar secrets and we share similar burdens. If you ever doubt that that secret will not stay a secret with you, before you let it fly, talk to me. I will buy silence if necessary.
Very well, Hallie. You have my word, dear.
Good.
Is she in trouble with Bostwick? May I ask? I only ask because I'm trying to understand the situation.
That situation is not going to ever leave your lips. Therefore, I'm sure you'll understand when I say these are pieces of information I cannot give.
I'm only trying to help. If
I know, but not all have the same understanding as you and I.
Very well. I understand completely.
Thank you. Thank you.
She will nod. And if there's nothing else, then I guess if you want to go back to the mirror, you can.
Yeah. She just wanted to make some terms known.
Did the conversation continue while Halaser left? Just out of curiosity.
Theoben went over to Orzamar's mirror, and he went through alone.
Oh, by himself?
Yep.
Okay. Theo, you will make your way towards the mirror. While that's happening, Connor is going to go towards Andrea, and he's still going to be shaking his head. I should have gone with you. I would have loved to have been talked to those magic people.
You should have. It would have been nice to have you there. I apologize.
It's okay, he says. Maybe next time.
Maybe.
Razakael turns and says, arrow leave?
Curious.
Hugh is just going to, I think, stand there and just look at the group one at a time. I think studying them very carefully. Halasera, you can come back into the mirror. Enter the mirror now.
And so she does. Violette has stated she does not have any reason to give up your secret, Andrea, and I have let her know that should it ever cross her mind, she is to speak with me first. I know this may not mean much to you. If you do not wish her along, that is fine. But I believe she will keep her promise to me.
You believe so?
A trust must begin somewhere, and I have given her 3 options, though 2 were only spoken.
I'm curious about what to do with the braces. I've been trying very hard not to use it because she obviously is a collector of magical artifacts, and she is very interested in the mirror.
She is very interested in all of it. Magic is her delight, and it is her power, and it is her way of ensuring that her people stay safe.
It does put me in a very dangerous position, you understand.
I do understand.
Well, that's what you have me for, Connor says as he raises his hand up.
Oh, that's really sweet. It's not me I'm worried about, but here's the thing. I would very much like to trust your whatever, but I don't. If I understand that you are making a promise that if she does anything, you'll have something to say to her, but I don't know if there will be anything left of her to say anything to.
That was the 3rd option I did not tell her about.
Because I understand slights against me, but if someone is to endanger Trina, I will kill them. And I will not hesitate.
Nor should you.
If you trust her, Halasera, then bring her along.
Again, I say, my trust with her goes so far, but these are strange times, and I believe her magics could be very useful to us.
3 mages, huh?
Yeah. Cedric, we might need another Templar around. Keep an eye on all these mages.
No. That won't be necessary, because knowing our luck, we'll get a Templar who doesn't like mages at all, and it'll just get even worse.
Hey, Connor says. He kind of puts his hand on your shoulder. I'm a circle mage, at least. I have permission to come here.
Yeah.
From the senior enchanter.
Granted.
So don't go all putting me in a box with everybody else. Connor
Hey.
says.
I don't mean to put it...
No offense, he says.
Connor.
I love it. Notice how he said, "Put me in a box," like everybody else.
Yeah. Andrea.
Yes.
I know you can't say what to do. What happens afterwards? You just go back to being a slave.
No, I will be free when it is done.
All right. All right. She falls silent, thoughtful.
With regards to Violetta joining the group, while she is a mage, and that concerns me, and the type of magic that she practices also concerns me.
Of course.
Andrea's just nodding.
Yeah, she's on board so far.
And you said, do you trust her?
I trust her insofar as I might consider her something like a business partner, were I a merchant. We have dealt before, we have dealt again, and we have not given reason for either of us to doubt the other. Much as, with a group of strangers, none of us have yet given each other a reason to doubt.
While I let her accompany us on this mission without putting up that much of a fuss, was going based off of the fact that you knew her and I thought that you trusted her.
To an extent, I do.
And it's to
Still.
that extent that worries me. I trust you because you're not a mage, even though I do not know you. That's just who I am. That's how I function.
Yes.
But I will offer you the same terms that we offered Kenna with Razakel. If she steps out of line,
If she steps out of line, she will not have a moment to hurt anyone else. And she can figure this out as well.
if I get that promise from you, then I have no objection. I have no right to object.
You have that promise. Go ahead.
Razakel says, "You give Razakel chance.
Yes.
You all scared Razakel first. Razakel prove Razakel good."
You did.
Yes.
Can someone go catch our dwarf friend? Because
Oh yeah, Razakel said Theo left.
Yes. Also, she has good bath smell.
Yeah, that's true.
Hannah, Theoben is going to get to the mirror, and you will try to use your birthmark to activate it. The mirror will react slightly, but if you remember from before, the only way you can open a mirror is with all of the marks there. You cannot open it by yourself.
There's nothing I can do with the bracelet to get it open.
You can try, but it's not going to work.
Right. Okay. Well,
You
I'll
will
say I'll
need
try.
You need the key, and unfortunately, the key comes in 5 parts. From this end, especially.
Fine. Then he's just gonna wander.
Okay. If you guys want to look for Theoben, you're welcome to try to look for Theoben.
She won't.
Okay.
He has a lot of things he needs to work through. Silence is sometimes necessary.
Okay.
Yeah, I was saying, my whole point earlier is we're not acting very much like a group, and I think we should work harder on doing that.
I agree. We absolutely should.
I'm sorry, Connor says. I didn't mean to guilt trip you guys about not taking me.
Next
It's
time,
just-
Connor, next
I was
time.
just so excited to actually get out of the tower. Anyway, I'm sorry. He says, I'll try to be a better sport about that.
No harm done.
You can have Razakel's spot next time, Razakel says.
Aw, she's so nice.
See, I like her, Connor says.
I do too.
Even though she's dressed like the thing that tried to steal something from Cogs. But anyway.
It is the nice outfit.
Soft, like cute.
Yeah. I guess Hallie, I mean, by the sounds of it, we're cool with Violetta coming. Yes, everybody. Has Theo even said yes or no yet?
Not everybody has chimed in yet.
Oh, sorry, Owlet says. I like the woman who says she knows pear trees.
Man who's got his
Had a feeling your
priorities
answer would be
straight.
Never say no to a pear tree.
I'm pretty straightforward, he says. What you see is what you get. Well, not when I'm in tree form. But other than that, what you see is what you get. Whoo, whoo! The owlet, acorn,
Acorn.
actually pops up as if, trying to say, shut up so I can sleep.
Well, then we'll wait for Theoben's answer. I'm not going to invite her in until everyone is positive.
Theoben, how long are you planning on just wandering around aimlessly? I'm just curious.
He would have only wandered for a bit, but he would have stayed by the Orzammar mirror. He would have
Okay.
looked out, tried to see if he could see anything of his home.
For how much is a bit? Are we talking hours? Are we talking less than an hour? Are we talking the whole day? How much is a bit?
I think every time he'd have thought about going back to the group, something in his head would have told him not to, so he'd have probably been walking around for at least an hour.
Okay. So Theoben hasn't returned back in an hour. Would you guys continue waiting for him?
She would probably go off. She'll check in with the group. I'll go find Theoben. Before she does, though,
Go ahead.
Sorry. What's Andrea doing?
Meditating.
And she will just go try to find.
Can
Theo.
I come with, Hallie? I wish to explore this place properly.
Yes, I think Theo likes you. Let's go.
A child of the stone likes a child of the wood. I never thought that such a thing would be possible.
We live in marvelous times, my friend.
I suppose, from what I've told, the child of the stone forms their houses in stone, leaving us trees untouched. This is a good thing, he says.
I agree.
Then I will follow. And with that, this big tree is going to follow you through
Yay!
the crossroads. Connor is going to walk over towards Cedric's direction. And he'll say, So, what do you want to do to pass the time? Maybe we can spar a bit?
There's something we need to talk about, actually.
Me? With me? Talk
Yes,
about with me?
Specifically with you.
Okay, but let me just remind you again, I'm a circle mage. I'm supposed to be here.
Yes,
Just so we're clear. All right, okay. And Connor will follow you to a private space in the crossroads.
All right. When we first met, I shook your hand.
Yeah, I tend to do that with everyone I meet, sure.
Now, I'm only telling you this because you are directly involved. But
Uh-oh.
when
I
I
like the sound
shook,
of this.
yeah, I didn't like it either. I shook your hand, and I had a vision of sorts. It
Vision?
was, I couldn't see anything, but I heard screaming and explosions in the background. And
Okay.
it was really upsetting. And I thought that it was just me at first. Being back in the circle and, But then after we sparred and I picked up your sword, it happened again, only stronger.
That's interesting, he says as he rubs his chin. That doesn't make too much sense, but it sounds a lot like something that I remember my brother Gwenael talking about. visions and things that trigger visions. Normally that happens when someone is somehow connected to an object or a person. It could trigger a vision. I don't know if that's what this is because, well, you and I have never met before.
Yes.
As far as I know.
I don't think I've ever met you.
As for the sword, I mean... Here's a question. Have you ever... You're a Templar, right?
Templar Initiate.
Okay, well that might not be the case then. I was going to ask you if you knew a guy named Liam.
I don't...
No.
Yeah. No. Never.
Well, roll a... what would this be? Roll a willpower. We'll see what... Tell me what you get. Yeah, I'll roll a willpower.
Any faith focus?
I'll say... Yeah, I'll say yes. I'll say yes.
Oh, snap.
Sure, go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead. Sure, I'll say yes.
14 with a 6 stunt point.
You were about to say that you don't recognize anyone named Liam, but just before you respond, you're like, wait, like somewhere in the back of my mind, I kind of feel like I know him? Kinda? It's fuzzy, though. Maybe you've met him before, but for some reason, something is blocking you. You just can't quite get to something in the back of your head that says maybe you've met this Liam guy before.
The name sounds familiar. You say he is he a Templar? Did he say he was a Templar?
He was. He's the reason why I'm alive today.
Oh.
The sword that I wield right now, it belonged to him. I kind of wanted to do right by him. It was the sword itself that saved me. And, well, I figured that maybe if I continued using it for him, he'd kind of still... It's almost like he's still around, you know?
I see. And...
He wasn't a perfect person. Gwenaëlle kind of told me some of the things that he had done before, but at the end of the day, he was a hero. At least he is to me.
So he died protecting you?
Yeah, I was really young. But yeah, he did. If it wasn't for him, I don't know if the Gwenaëlle or the rest of the heroes of Ferelden would have been able to do what they did. But I don't know why that would necessarily have anything to do with your visions unless... It doesn't make sense.
Well... Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, normally those kind of things, especially if you're talking about someone who died, if you were a spirit mage, then yeah, that would make total sense. But you're not... I don't think you're a mage, so that doesn't make any sense.
I don't think I'm a mage either.
I sense a little bit of relief when you say that.
No offense to you, it's just mages have a heavy burden to bear.
I understand, and you Templars don't necessarily have easy lives either, I guess.
Yes.
Well...
How did he save you?
Believe it or not, the Archdemon attacked the Tempest Dream. I was on it. We were up in the air. There was a lot of explosions. He stops. And one of them destroyed part of the wall of the room I was in, and I fell out. Liam rushed in after me, and he was able to catch me while I was free falling. I was so scared. I thought that was it. I mean, I was a little kid. I just kept screaming. And then he showed up, and without me even knowing, he jammed this sword, he says as he lifts up, into my hands and told me to hold on tight. And I did. I held on for dear life and I didn't let go. And then he passed his hand over it. And the sword just started to shoot up. It moved. His scabbard, this scabbard, he says, pointing to the one on the side. It pulled me up. It took me back into the ship, but in doing so, I guess he didn't think that the sword would be able to take both me and him at the same time, so he just kept falling. The scabbard went to Lealden for a little bit, but Lealden gave it back to me, and I've been keeping it with me ever since. It's kind of hard to let go of the thing that saved your life, you know?
I understand. So, the vision that I had, that sounded almost exactly the same. Explosions, people screaming.
That does fit. You don't think Liam's trying to get through somehow through you? But that would only happen if you're a spirit mage.
Why? And why would a dead Templar want to talk to me, a Templar initiate from Navarra?
I have no idea. I guess... I don't know. Maybe we'd have to go to Navarra to find out.
Ugh. This wasn't exactly how I expected this conversation to go. I was just meaning to tell you the situation because I felt that you had the right to know.
This is a big stab in the dark, he says, but do you think that this might have any connection with those Burgundy people somehow?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm just stabbing in the dark here, but maybe our best lead would be to go to the mirror where the Burgundy folks were. If you really want to get to the bottom of this. I mean, if you're saying what I think you're saying and Liam is trying to tell us something, I'm pretty inclined to follow this lead personally. It's just me, but I really would like to talk to him, to say thank you at least.
I understand. However, there's more pressing matters at hand with regards to the anvil. While I would like to get to the bottom of this as much as anyone, our lives do not equate the entire race of dwarves that could be lost. And I would not feel comfortable going off on a personal quest when such a heavy burden would just be placed on the rest of our companions.
I totally understand.
But...
just thinking out loud.
But I do want to investigate this, and it would be an honor if you would help me investigate this.
He would nod. It would too. He's about to hold out his hand to shake, and then he kind of pulls it back. He kind of says,
Hey.
Can we at least establish if this is somehow Liam trying to reconnect? I'm not a threat to you, right? We've established that, Connor says.
Yes. You are not a threat to me.
He'll hold out his hand.
Cedric will kind of reluctantly, like, oh, please don't do it.
You'll grab a hold of his hand to shake, You'll get a rush again, but it's different. It's not... You don't hear the explosions. You don't hear the... You don't hear the explosions. You don't hear the screaming. But you actually see now. You realize that you're falling. You can feel... not fear, but pride. Determination. You have a feeling that you know the end is coming, but you're satisfied. You look down and you see this absolutely frightened little boy. Tears are streaming down his eyes, and his face is completely white with tear. You very gently, take the hilt of your sword and you put it into his hands, and you clasp his hands around it as you watch the little boy making total eye contact with you, and you just can't help feel this connection with him, like you would do anything to protect him and everyone else that you care about as you let him go. And when you see him fly up, you feel at peace. And then the vision goes away. No sounds, just sights.
Feelings and...
Just feelings and sight. Almost like a lot of things just became a lot clearer now. Did it happen again? Connor asks.
Cedric will let go of his hands and kind of like rub his head, like trying to like make sense of it all, and say, "Yeah, but this time was different. I saw exactly what you just described to me. I saw a little boy. I saw someone put a sword in the little boy's hands, but I wasn't like a third person. I was looking like in a first person view, and I could feel all of his emotions, and it was not fun. Even though it wasn't a bad vision, it was scary."
Well, I only have a few theories, but whenever we get around to it, I think that solidifies it. Liam somehow is trying to make contact, I don't know through you or why he picked you, but I think the only way we can get his message fully is if we find those Burgundy people somehow.
I agree.
Whenever we decide to do that.
Of course. Ooh.
Thanks for telling me, Cedric.
Of course, you had every right to know. Especially now that I see that you were connected in this way that much.
If, for some reason, with Gwenail, he's, as a spirit mage at least, he has the ability to speak to spirits. I don't know if you can do it. Like I said, I've never heard of anyone other than mages who can do it. If you see Liam, can you ask him for me if he's okay? If he found the Maker and it was everything that he wanted? Please?
Of course. That will be the first thing I will ask him.
Thanks. He sort of wipes his eyes a little bit and puts the sword back into his hilt. And he will leave.
Cedric will follow behind him.
Oh my gosh, I'm about to cry.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my gosh, I'm about to
Fighting
cry.
back tears, I was like, nope.
You guys are getting closer. Good job. You're getting closer. Oh, so many people miss Liam. I miss Liam.
It's Liam. Oh gosh.
So many people miss him. He's such a great character. Andrea, while this is all happening, Hugh has wandered off for a bit.
Oh.
And not that you might have noticed, maybe you're like maybe you decided to go look for him. You'll find Hugh somewhere by himself. He normally doesn't wander off, so this is kind of odd for him. He has a mirror out, and he's looking at the mirror, and he's got a paintbrush. And if you look closely, he's painting something on his head. It looks like Hugh is touching up the brand on his forehead. And with that, I'm gonna end the session there.
Wait, what? Interesting.
I'm gonna be quick.
I figured Kevin might want to see that before we end the
probably.
session.
What?
Oh,